Hi, I'm Matt Murphy. Welcome to Lockdown Sydney. This is where we do book presentations nowadays. My second book is called Rum, A Distilled History of Colonial Australia. A bit about me. I'm a full-time fireman. I'm a part-time teacher. This is my second book, as I said. My first book was called Weight of Evidence, and it sort of grew out of a university essay that got out of hand. But out of Weight of Evidence, I had Weight of Evidence published. It's like, wow, look, I've written a book. But I started to love writing and researching. So this is the first book I've done. Rum is the first book I've done that I've actually deliberately written. Weight of Evidence was about a court case. It was about the biggest court case in New South Wales at the time in the 1850s. Huge court case, big mess, lots of corruption, lots of backhanders, lots of bribery. It's a great story. If you're interested in it, there's going to be a link at the end of this YouTube clip, under this YouTube clip, to get access to it at the library, your local library. It's a great read, and coincidentally, it's just sold out. So it's sort of a coincidence for me that it's just disappeared, just as Rum is now taking over everything I do. So let's move on. Rum, A Distilled History of Colonial Australia. This is the first time I've given this presentation. I do ramble a bit. Let's see how we go. Okay, so the book follows the main part of the book. The book comes in 33 chapters, but the main chapters follow the careers of the first 9 governors of New South Wales, and how they dealt with Rum and how Rum dealt with them. So we've got Phillip, we've got Hunter, we've got, what's that guy? That's King, that's Bligh, of course you know Bligh. Behind my face, you've got Macquarie, I'll have to take my word for it. That guy's Brisbane. Then you've got Gips, Darling, then Burke, and then Gips. Okay, they're the first 9 governors. So they had a few of them had one thing in common. These 5 here, I said one of them sitting on my face, they all married an Elizabeth. Elizabeth was a very popular name. But they're also marrying Elizabeth, and this guy is fantastic. John MacArthur, everyone knows John MacArthur, king of the wool industry, the $2 note. There's an area in Sydney named after him, MacArthur. And I'm very, I think proud's the word to say that of all the chapters in the book, the one that I tear MacArthur to shreds has been the one that's been most commented on. People think MacArthur is a god, and he's far from it. He didn't start the wool industry. He was just a very, very rude, corrupt shonk. He happened to be in England at the right time because he was in duel. He fought a duel with his superior and shot him in the arm, which meant that he was in England when the first wool clip arrived from Australia from other people. And so he put his hand and said, "Oh yeah, I do wool as well." But really, he actually wrote that there's no wool industry and there's no point of in wool industry. He was really against it. And in fact, by the time he was dead, there was more wool, there's more sheep in Tasmania than there was in New South Wales. He got given merino sheep, but many other people got given merino sheep. The difference was he sold his because he didn't think they were worth anything. How MacArthur's become mythologized within Australian history is quite baffling. And I'm quite happy, as I said, that the chapter I wrote about him, where I'd pull him apart, has been in the newspapers and stuff, attracted a lot of interest. Anyway, let's move on. So these are the first 6 governors. They've got a few of them got one strange thing in common. So the first one there is Governor Phillip. His wife did not come to Australia, to New South Wales. The second one there, Hunter, he didn't have a wife. So his wife didn't come because he didn't have one. Then Governor King, his wife did come. Governor Bligh's wife didn't come. That means these 3 guys here, their wives were the first 3 wives, the first 3 first ladies in Australia. The first 3 first ladies were the first 3 wives of these governors. And they had a very peculiar thing in common in that they each married their cousins. So these 3 guys married their cousins. The first 3 first ladies in New South Wales were cousins to their officer husbands. True. So start with some cute little weird facts. A lot of the book deals in gallons, and I converted the gallons into litres. So 1 gallon is just over 4.5 litres, 4.55 litres. How many gallons of rum did Piedmont sell for in 1799? So I should explain my graphic skills, my PowerPoint skills aren't that crash hot. So we've got a little picture of the Star Casino there, which is of course the heart of Piedmont, and a map showing where Piedmont is in Sydney. Obviously it sold for a lot less then than what it would sell now, but how much do you reckon Piedmont sold for in 1799? It sold for 1 gallon of rum, 4.5 litres of rum was what Piedmont sold for in 1799. So how many gallons of rum did a man try to sell his wife for in 1802? 1, 2, 3, 4. He sold his wife tried to sell his wife for 18 litres or 4 gallons of rum. The governor stopped him. But I think I'm doing this just not to sort of, make you giggle, but just to demonstrate people do anything for rum. People sold the whole suburb of Piedmont for rum. People selling their wives for 18 litres of rum. 18 litres, sorry, of rum. Okay, in the 1830s, how much rum was drunk by every person in a year? Okay, and the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's one under my face. 7 gallons of rum per person. Okay, now adding that up, that's 31 litres of rum. That's 2.8 shots every day for every man, woman, and child, right? Every child. And that's including every convict. Remember, convicts, they did drink, but they weren't supposed to drink. So really, the standard adult male, how much was he really putting away every day? Can you imagine having 3 shots of rum or 3 rum and cokes every day, 7 days a week? That's what they're doing. Okay, that's in the 1830s, our peak rum consumption. And so in preparing this presentation, I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about? And this is the back cover of the book. And I thought, why don't I just talk about the questions on the back cover? So let's go. This is the first question. That's Bligh, and that's George Johnson. And the first question on the back cover of the book is, could the Rum Rebellion have been averted if Major Johnson wasn't hungover? So the Rum Rebellion, Bligh upset everyone. He upset the rum corps by confiscating their rum and trying to close down the rum industry. He upset a lot of other entrepreneurs in New South Wales because he was told that to get rid of all entrepreneurship, get rid of the rum corps controlling the colony with rum, this is a penal colony. This has to be a place of detriment, deterrent to crime. But of course, he upset a lot of people. So he actually organised, it came to a real impasse, and he organised to have a meeting with the head of the army, Major Johnson, to have a meeting. But Major Johnson didn't turn up at that meeting because the day before that, he got pissed at the annual Rum Corps dinner. He got so drunk that on his way home, he fell off his horse, got knocked unconscious and broke his arm. Had bandages over his head and stuff. So a letter was sent to Bligh saying, sorry, Johnson can't make it. And so the impasse was not settled and the Rum Rebellion happened the next day. If Johnson had met with Bligh, things could have been different. And it's just one instance. I've got 3 instances I'm going to raise where rum, or alcohol in general, has played a huge impact in a decision making that has really affected the way this colony, especially colonial Australia, was run. Next question. Okay, Eureka Stockade. That's Eureka Stockade. You can see the Eureka flag. Would the Eureka Stockade have been different if the rebels weren't pissed? Again, the rebels were drunk. Not only were the rebels drunk, it is strongly rumoured that the troopers who were outside the stockade and preparing to fire upon the stockade actually ferried alcohol in to make sure they were drunk. So that when they started the firefight at 2 o'clock the next morning, they didn't meet much opposition. So again, would the Eureka Stockade have been any different if the rebels weren't drunk? We'll never know. Okay, as I said, I've pinched a lot of photos off the internet. Some of them are sort of not quite appropriate. You're probably wondering what this guy's doing. But the question is, how are prisoners to get drunk if Macquarie closed the only pub in the jail? And this is a great question because it just demonstrated how prolific rum was. There was rum in the jail. And people actually said, when Macquarie arrived and said, what the hell, we can't have this. Macquarie closed down lots of pubs in Sydney, but he also closed down the pub in the jail. And people said, just very openly, honestly, how are prisoners to get their rum if you close down the pub in the jail? It's ridiculous to contemplate having a bar in a jail, but that's what there was. And that's how prolific, and that's how rum was just so much part of all of our lives back then, 200 years ago. Ridiculous to contemplate, but that's what it was. And it's these kind of stories that made me want to write this book. Just the rum just ran everything. Rum took over. Okay, a little kid in a boat. I said my internet skills are weird. I just find strange photos, but hopefully you'll understand when you see the question. Why should sailors under 14 be deprived of their 16 shots of rum a day? So we drank a lot of rum in Australia because we were settled by the Navy. And the Navy had, as you may know, the rum tradition. They drank rum on board the ships. Rum initially replaced beer on board the ships, which in turn replaced water. Obviously, when a navy or a merchant navy goes out into the ocean, they need water. They need something to quench their thirst, and water would often go off. It'd go murky, go slimy in the big holes in the ship. So they started replacing water with beer, which wouldn't go off as readily. But then they decided that, you know, rum or brandy sometimes would not only not go off, it'd keep distilling. It actually gets stronger. So water became beer, became rum on board the ships. And it was rationed out, of course. And so basically the Navy ration was 16 shots of rum a day, 16 rum and cokes a day. It was watered down, but it was still 16 shots, and then the 16 shots were watered down. It wasn't 16 watered shots, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't until the 1850s they decided that sailors under 14 perhaps should not have those 16 shots of rum. It's ridiculous to contemplate. Okay, so they're the 4 questions on the back of the book. And then there's a paragraph after that. And this is a bit of a contentious paragraph. When we put it forward, someone at HarperCollins, my publisher, said, oh, we can't write that on the back cover of the book. And it says, so from binge drinking to alcohol to lockout laws, and from prohibition to urinating on the parliamentary carpet. And there is a story in the book about a politician urinating on the parliamentary carpet. But the back cover also says the word piss. And I said, you know, so you're allowing piss on the back cover. You're not allowing urinating. So it's there, it's on the back of the book. So I thought I'd explain about John Norton. John Norton was voted into Parliament in 1898 in a by-election. He was perpetually drunk, spent most of his time in Parliament House absolutely drunk, and on one occasion downed his dacks and urinated on the parliamentary carpet. It caused a furor. I mean, can you imagine, I mean, nowadays, of course, that'd be met with absolute disgust, but back in those days, things were just laughed at. And so much so that in 1899, when there was a general election, he was not only voted in again, he was voted in with a high majority. So, that's the back cover of the book. But now, so what else am I going to talk about? Because I haven't talked enough. Let's talk about the 4 questions that didn't make the back cover of the book. And so we had a list of questions. We chose those 4 for the back cover, but here are the questions that didn't make the back cover. Here's Eureka Stockade again. So here's another stockade. So here's the Castle Hill Rebellion. Watch this, see the magic of my internet skills. Would the Castle Hill Rebellion have been different if the rebels weren't pissed? So the Castle Hill Rebellion, 1804, a bunch of convicts in Castle Hill, northwest Sydney, decided they might go down to Parramatta, hold Parramatta for ransom, demand a boat, and then take the boat and escape. But again, like Eureka Stockade, like the Rum Rebellion, alcohol got in the way. Most people didn't even reach Parramatta. A lot of them were shot at. A lot of them were so drunk that when the flags went up to start the rebellion, they were too drunk to actually, you know, get out of bed. So it never happened. And again, what would have happened if alcohol did not play a part and these rebellious convicts actually did manage to take over Parramatta? Again, alcohol got in the way. We'll never know. Next question. As I said, great internet skills. If the convicts escaping to China were not so smashed, would they have made it? It's a fantastic chapter. I love this story. And you've probably heard a little bit before about all these convicts who thought just over the mountains or just to the south or just to the north was China. Some said they just got across 2 rivers, and a lot of them just, they took a gallon of rum and some bread and they took off. And the fact they never came back, which is because they probably died, only led others to believe that, you know, Tom and Harry made it. They never came back, so they must have made it. So it just perpetuated the myth, and more people kept going. It got to the point where Governor Hunter actually said, look, I'll help you escape. I'll send some troopers with you just so you can go and have a look and realize there's nothing there. We're nowhere near China. But you know, they kept doing it anyway. So it's a great chapter about all these convicts escapes. As I said, my book is 33 chapters, not all of them about rum. There's lots of digressions. Next question. What have I done? Next question. Okay, this question. This is actually an actual photo. How did rum build a hospital? The picture you're looking at there is the rum hospital, so-called because it was built from the proceeds of rum, sort of. The Sydney hospital, which now on Macquarie Street, replaced it. And the reason it replaced it was because this building was so shoddily built. The idea was these 3 businessmen in 1812, I think it was, approached Macquarie and said, look, we'll build you a fantastic hospital, huge hospital, if you let us have a monopoly on the supply of rum for 3 years. And Macquarie thought, this is a great deal. So they'll build it for free, absolutely build it for free. Just all they need was some convict labour, but they'll supply all the materials. They just wanted convict labour, and we'll build this hospital for free as long as we have a monopoly on rum for 3 years. A deal that Macquarie could not pass up. The three guys, the three entrepreneurs, though, they really come unstuck because in the fine print, and I don't think Macquarie, when he made the contract, realised how important this fine print was, but the fine print said that any rum already on its way, or any rum that's already been contracted by any person is still allowed to arrive. And these guys didn't realise how much rum was already going to be coming into the country already, that was going to undersell them, because the people who bought them in, bought this rum in, didn't have to build a hospital out of the funds from it. So they really lost a lot of money. One of them suicided, actually, which isn't real good. And the other one was, as I wrote in the MacArthur story, one of them was probably the father of the merino sheep industry in Australia. It's a long story. I'm not going to discuss it here. Too big. Okay, Donald Duck. A duck with no pants on, a sailor with no pants on. Why have we got that? Again, my internet skills, fantastic. Okay, the question is, was that the governor's lover running around with no pants on? Now, there is a chapter in the book about the possibility, probability, I don't know which word to use, of Governor Phillip being homosexual. I think it's an important chapter. I don't want to sort of make, I'm certainly not making fun of him, but there's a lot. I mean, homosexuality goes back a long way. There's lots of potentially homosexual people. Bass and Flinders, their letters to each other have just been released a few years ago. Pretty saucy stuff. They did more than just do exploring together. Burke and Wills had a male lover that he gave a lock of his hair to. One of Governor Phillip's potential lovers, he was a sailor, hence the sailor suit, and he actually died for exposure after chasing veggie thieves wearing nothing but a shirt, which is why Donald Duck is seen there with no pants on. In the book, there's about seven or eight instances in the book of people without pants on. Yeah. So one of Governor Macquarie's potential lovers died of exposure for chasing veggie thieves out of the governor's garden. Okay, next question. Yes, I love this question. Why should drunks piss on camels? So again, we're back to Burke and Wills territory. Burke and Wills, there was another guy in the party, the Burke and Wills party, called George Landells, and George Landells was the cameleer who controlled the camels. And he took with him a supply of rum for the purpose of, for the camels. Now, of course, the question is, were the camels to drink the rum? No. The purpose was that we, or Burke and Wills, and the party were supposed to drink the rum and then piss it onto the camel's hides to protect their skin from the elements. Ultimately, no one saw it because on their second or third night away from Melbourne, a bunch of convicts got into the rum stash and took their rum before they before the party even got a chance to piss on a camel with it. Landells wisely said, this exploration party is doomed, and he quit. He left his camels with Burke and Wills, and of course, the Burke and Wills story is famous for all the wrong reasons. I think that's my last question. Okay, I've got this. You're looking at the blank screen now, but I love this. I actually really love this. When my book first came out, Rum, the book's called Rum, it was miscategorized as a cookbook, cooking / alcohol beverages book. And as a result, within the first 2 weeks of publication, I had the #1 cookbook in the country, on top of the Air Fry cookbook and CSIRO Women's Health and Nutrition Guide. So I'm quite proud of that. I click this and I tell everyone that I had a #1 cookbook. I think that's basically it. There's the front cover. People say to me all the time, what a fantastic front cover. And all I can do is agree with you. I don't know where it came from. That's my publisher's job, and I love it too. They got an artist in. I don't know anything about it, but yes, I'm very happy to have that as my book cover. Here is my email address if you want to get in touch. Please get in touch. I love talking to people about history. I find it fantastic. If you want a signed copy of my book, get in touch. Otherwise, you can find it in bookshops, you can find it in libraries, find it online. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Ta.